Digital Media. My name is LASA2018, and I am your panel moderator. I will introduce myself and my fellow partners, and then we will present in the order that you can see on the screen. Before starting my presentation, I would like to thank you all for being here. I wanted also to thank Amanda, Jessie, and Emily for making this long-distance presentation possible. Amanda Jordan is a PhD candidate in the Comparative Literature and Culture program at the University of Southern California. Her work is situated between comparative literature, Spanish and Latin American studies, art history, and media art and practice. Her dissertation analyzes important artistic archival practices from artists such as Monica Meyer and Ulises Carrión in order to consider the state of aesthetic theory and philosophy as it relates to the archive, the social body, and in Meyer and Carrión's case, late 20th century and contemporary Mexican art. Emily Ranja is a PhD student in the program of Latin American Cultural Studies at The Ohio State University. She holds a bachelor's degree from University of Los Andes, Mérida, Venezuela, and a master from The Ohio State University. She is interested in digital media and visual studies, representation of youth, cultures, and violence in Latin America, specifically in Venezuela. And finally, Jesse Leonard is a PhD student from the University of Ottawa. He also holds a master from the same institution with a thesis on memory in the poetry of the Chilean diaspora in Canada. His current research focuses on digital art in Latin America, although his other interests include contemporary French Canadian cultural production. And finally, I am a Cuban multidisciplinary writer and PhD candidate at Princeton University. My work is focused on the convergence between literature, the arts, and digital media. For my doctoral dissertation, I am working on the impact of digital media in the fields of visual arts, literature, and music in contemporary Cuba. Now I will start my presentation. Media practices and artistic disruption in Galeria Email. The Little Email War in 2007 was the event that started the story I wanted to tell you today. In late December 2006, Cuban state-run television broadcasted a series of programs glorifying the role of bureaucrats that were responsible for implementing repressive policies in the cultural sphere during the 70s. Reacting against these TV shows, several intellectuals started in January of 2007 exchange of emails. They were protesting for the TV show, but they were also starting a polemic that soon involved a dozen of key players from several generations. The fact that several of the most prominent artists and writers living on the island were able to share their collective discontent by simply hitting reply all created a new way of conceptualizing political participation as well as media usage. Another relevant practice in the 21st century in Cuba that came from the use of the email was a digital magazine wave that happened in the Iceland between 2001 and 2010. However, it wasn't until the later email war, I could say, that actors from the cultural field understood email as a channel for the expansion of the political and cultural conversation in the public sphere. Young cultural producers participated in this exchange literary work by highlighting that the discussion was old. It only discussed the past, while it was clear that this past had continuity in the intellectuals versus state battles of the present. This is on the right, you can see one of the Galleria emails cartoons, and is talking about these conferences that the state decided to organize after the climax of the literary war. These conferences were closed to the public and were only open to writers and artists that were not young. So here you can see the cartoon that it says, no pases si no es calvo o tiene el pelo gris. Do not enter if you don't have hair or if your hair is not gray. Galeria Email started in 2007. It was born from the literary email world. It was launched by artist LASA2018. It consisted of mostly humorous messages sent to a growing list of email users, and including as attachments a series of on-panel graphic logs. In a manifesto that circulated in one of his earliest messages, Saavedra presented Galeria Email as an attempt to disrupt, at the same time, the conversations of art distribution and political communication. And this is a quote. Los museos almacenan las materializaciones superficiales y descontextualizadas de lo que ha quedado del arte, de la misma forma que un coral es el esqueleto de un ser que tuvo vida alguna vez. Galería Email no hace artesanía con coral. This is an image from Galería Email. Galería Email and Email Art. Galería Email can be easily classified as email art. But email art, a movement that began in the 90s, is seen as an evolution or continuation of mail art. The mail art movement was a network of artists that started to work collectively in the early 60s. Nevertheless, we only had a few and late examples of mail art in Cuba in the 90s, and they were isolated from the abroad communities. The email and internet also came late to Cuba. It was in the 21st century that the email became a popular medium among artists and writers. By the time artists and writers started to use the email, to connect to internet was extremely difficult and expensive. This is another email Galería Email cartoon. It says, el internet es mierda, a ver, que levante la mano el que quiera tener internet. Basically, internet is shit. Let's see. Raise your hand if you want internet. And then, as you can see, nobody can raise their hands because they don't have hands. This is not only talking about Cuban society, but specifically is talking about um, the community of artists and writers. Galería Email. There is no doubt that has managed to alter the logic of human art. As the critic Hippolytus said, net art can be developed outside the galleries, auction houses, and printed art magazines. But this results in awards that have a broad appeal and international following. Email art practitioners are criticized because they turn artwork into mass media products, something that Saavedra seems to be doing with Galeria Email. Saavedra was sending out fast and simultaneously a product that could multiply in the era of electronic reproduction. And he was seeking an audience that couldn't have to be geographically located in Cuba. This is another cartoon from Galeria Email, and this is from the manifesto that Lázaro Saavedra published in Galeria Email. La obra, quote, la obra Galería Email es como Dios, está en diferentes lugares y no está en ninguna parte al mismo tiempo. La obra de Galería Email es creada digitalmente. La obra de Galería Email puede circular de mano en mano si se imprime, pero ya no es la obra de Galería Email, es la obra de Galería Email. And you can see here in this cartoon that is talking again about the cultural sphere. The question is, what is art? The question is, who cares? Galería Email and graphic humor. Lázaro Saavedra have said, es un medio nuevo que conecta texto e imagen, permitiendo sacar a la luz ideas que no podían ser exhibidas y solo admitían el humor gráfico. Magali Espinosa, the Cuban curator and art critic that has paid more attention to Galería Email, have wrote, a falta de la presencia de un humor crítico en la prensa, contamos con esta galería que ha enriquecido la prensa periódica. Las cosas no son lo que aparentan, is the title for this intervention by Magali Espinosa. So as you can see, Galería Email is trying to do trying to make an emphasis on graphic humor, and this is one of the cartoons, and this is not only graphic humor but also an historical reference. This character that you can see on the left in the cartoon is a political cartoon from the series El Bobo de Abela. This character was made by another artist in the series, Abela. He was meant to talk about the political problems in the island by that time. In this cartoon, it says, antes todos los gobiernos eran corruptos, pero el pueblo no lo era. And that's what this character from the series says to this character from the present that you can see on your right. Chico, pues ahora el gobierno no lo es, pero casi todo el pueblo sí. And the answer is, well, if this other character says from the series that governments were the corrupt and the people were honest, today the character from today says that today the government is the honest one and is the people that is not honest. And this is obviously quoting the official rhetoric. Galería Email and the Cuban blogosphere. On the other hand, in the birth of Galería Email, if the birth of Galería Email can be traced to the literary email world, also born from this momentous exchange was the call in the Cuban blogosphere. Galería Email and the Cuban blogosphere share not just the same birth, but also their media practices and similar audiences. The Cuban blogosphere was born when Joanna Sanchez published her first post in the famous Generation Y blog in April of 2007. It was a huge transformation of the Cuban media ecology, and other independent blogs started to appear later that same year. Around Johnny Sanchez, a group of young bloggers consolidated as an iconoclastic, well-read, and playful community. These blogs were critical about both the ordinary life in the island and the cultural spheres in which the authors participated. In this group, we have writers, musicians, video filmmakers, and other people from the cultural community. Gallery Email is organized today by topics. This was a work that Magali Espinosa made from an exhibition in Quito, Ecuador. And as you can see, the political is very present. You can see that we have 11 topics. All the cartoons were organized in 11 topics. One of them is a manifesto. The other one is the historical reference, the philosophical reflection, the context, society, and so on. Galería Email and journalism. I propose that Saavedra has also brought back the cartoon as a political tool using the email both as a gallery and a journalistic platform. But he wasn't looking for an audience that could never set foot in a gallery, like Hipólito said, talking about net art. Saavedra, in his mailing list, include only actors from the cultural field and public figures, just like the digital magazine's wave, the Cuban blogosphere, and other new media ventures that come from Cuban writers and artists. The goal of Galeria Email was never to reach new audiences, but to grow the old audience with new members. This is from the manifiesto. La comunidad es una minoría. La comunidad no es un concepto físico. Galería Email hace arte comunitario porque va dirigido a una comunidad virtual. Frecuentar una galería es una opción. Tener computadora y correo es un privilegio. Mi obra es para la élite que posee computadoras y correo, de la misma forma que el arte que se exhibe en las galerías es para la élite que frecuenta las galerías. As you can see, there is a counterpoint between galleries and the email as a virtual space. And he's comparing these two spaces. He's putting them in the same level when it comes to who do you reach. If you want to reach the lead that goes to the galleries, You make art, he says. But if you want to reach another elite that has computers and email, you also make an email gallery. By making art by other means, the new mass media channel for artworks is not just remediating a public platform such as traditional journalism, but also its social status and authority. And here you can see another cartoon, and this is my final slide. And you can see that this character on the left is asking to the other one, "Do you hear anything?" And the other one says, "I doubt it. Um, you cannot hear anything because it's soundproofed." So, what I'm trying to say, and this is my conclusion, is that although Galleria email is a space that subverts the gallery, is also a space that is only reaching for growing the traditional audience and not necessarily reaching for new audiences. So, this is my conclusion. Thank you very much to all.